months left for Bitcoin to bust as the clock ticks on. Is there a new whack-off accumulation pattern in play? While Bitcoin battles below the 200-day moving average after a convincing break of the last 2-month triangle, Bitcoin looks more ready to blast than a Christian man on his first trip to Vegas after spending 20 years being faithful to his wife. But that is all about to change. And while many have believed that the end of the Fed's money print-a-thon is near, what if I were to tell you it's actually just the beginning? Your host, Pansy Pumpathon, and this is breaking news and a breaking news video because everything that I'm going to discuss in today's video is huge. So get to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn those ghost notifications so you never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. And as well, if you guys are interested in any bonuses, securing your crypto, getting altcoins, trading, joining our stake pool to earn rewards with your ADA Cardano, make sure to check out all the links below. And I have one Twitter and one Instagram. They are also in the description. And without any further Magoo, let's make a mess. Ginormous, as Bitcoin currently right now finds support and consolidates right at the level that it peaked at twice over the past 3-month period as Bitcoin began trading within this symmetrical triangle that we just saw the beginning of a breakout to just a few weeks ago. After getting a little pushback below the 200-day moving average, there's so much going on, and specifically also with this chart. But before we get into these charts, this is truly ginormous. Truly ginormous. Here is where Bitcoin could go while the whack-off accumulation pattern is unfolding. With Bitcoin trading between 33,000 and 45.5, the pullbacks of Bitcoin in February and March 2022 were accompanied by the increasing of supply. And despite this, Bitcoin formed a higher low, suggesting supply absorption according to the Wyckoff law, effort versus results. And what we saw was indeed truly ginormous. The rally of Bitcoin started back on March 14th, just a few weeks ago, breaking above the 45.5 resistance level, followed by a backup action, BU, testing the axis line, which is unfolding now, where the previous resistance turned support. And this could be classified as a sign of strength when the backup can commit above 44K, which is where we saw that breakout happen. And again, you can see that level right about here where we saw massive resistance over the past few months and where we've actually bounced so far. We saw the lowest Bitcoin has gone down since this breakout began back at the very, very beginning of April and the end of March. You see that big wick down to about 44K. It's very important that that holds. And basically, to sum it up, should Bitcoin break above 48, a run to even 54 is very likely, which is the level where the breakdown happened back on December 4th, okay, of 2021. Right about here, where we saw that big breakdown here, where previously Bitcoin had hit 69,000, nice, and ultimately dumped day after day consecutively until hitting about 42, right about here, and then bouncing up, holding for a while until finally capitulating to the lowest we've seen it since the summer of 2021, all the way back there, where we started forming this reversal pattern, which again, I think a lot of people are very optimistic about. Not to mention, I mean, we're going to get into more charts as well, but that's very big for Bitcoin. But here, Bitcoin starting 2022 all over again. 5 things, and we're just going to go over like 2 very important ones here to be watching for. Bitcoin is basically at the same level that it was now as it started January of 2022. So if we go back to the very first day of January, right here, and that's pretty much exactly where we're right now. We are basically almost the highest we've been since this year started. Most of 2022, 99%, we traded below where we are right now in this range, in this consolidation that we just actually began breaking out of very recently that we're talking about right now. So new beginnings here, and absolutely very big for Bitcoin's price as well. But price action has been quiet, perhaps too quiet in recent days, but behind the declining volatility, there are signs that the market is busy deciding its future direction, potentially pumping very, very big, extremely bigly perhaps, as the U.S. Fed pledges to reduce its record high balance sheet and keep raising key rates. Commentators have sounded the alarm over what could be a shockwave hitting this investment in crypto, but there's little sign of a fundamental shift being underway of that actually happening. And in fact, in Asia, it seems like the opposite is happening. As highlighted by markets commentator Holger Zapitz, Shepits, the Bank of Japan, has added to its balance sheet, printing even more liquidity. They're actually printing even more, right? They're not even raising interest rates there. Very, very big. The Bank of Japan already had the largest balance sheet relative to GDP, and that trend is only increasing, now at 136% of its GDP. It's not only a surprise, but could be the biggest monetary experiment in history. And something else very interesting about this is that Arthur Hayes, the ex-CEO of derivatives giant BitMEX, wrote just last month, "There is no government ever that resisted the temptation to print money in order to pay its bills and placate its citizens. The government will never voluntarily go bankrupt. That is axiomatic. I challenge you to contradict me. Therefore, if your time horizon is in years, it's time. If you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Remember, it's not gold or Bitcoin that is increasing in price. It's a decrease in value of the fiat currency in which they are priced." Okay, that's exactly the point here. And again, I think all of us struggle with the idea of thinking Bitcoin is going up in price. Yes, but also more so, Bitcoin and gold are going up in value because fiat currency is sinking in value. It's becoming worthless. Like the Venezuelan currency, like, Turkish lira. What was like the Roman back in like ancient Rome losing value? There's been billions. Well, there's been a lot of times in the past where fiat currencies or currencies used in the past became valueless, eventually went bust. In fact, every single one of them eventually has gone bust. And the reason that the US dollar, most likely, and many of the currencies around the world will also lose all of their value is because of what the people in charge of the value of the currencies are doing. Printing unlimited amounts of it. Okay? Again, the simplest analogy or metaphor that I can give you is if you're playing a game of Monopoly with your boys, right? You got Johnny, Jimmy, Bobby, and Billy all playing Monopoly, and each have 200 Monopoly bucks. And then the hot mommy from down the street comes over with 1 trillion Monopoly bucks. It makes Jimmy, Johnny, Bobby, and Billy's Monopoly bucks worthless because hot mommy brought all of her money over, $1 trillion worth of money. And, $1 trillion is a lot more than 200 times 4, which is what all the boys had, only $800 total. And basically, the government is like the hot mommy. And then you and I are like Billy, Bobby, Johnny, and Billy down the street. Basically, you print money and it's not good for the currency that you're printing a lot of. That's why Bitcoin is better, because you're not going to keep printing it. There's 21 million, and in fact, just recently, the 19 millionth Bitcoin was mined. Only roughly 2 million more to mine. There's estimated 4 or 5 million permanently lost, right? Maybe giving us a total of maybe like 14 or 15 million that even exist right now, or that can ever be used or moved around. So again, the supply is shrinking, and that's a problem that does not, the US dollar has a way worse problem. It's growing, and it's worse and worse. And very interesting as well, according to on-chain analytics firm Glassnode, last month saw exchange outflows unlike many others. Exchanges are down equivalent of almost 100,000 Bitcoin, and there have only been 2 occasions in Bitcoin's lifespan when outflows surpassed the 100,000 Bitcoin mark, making Marches amongst the highest. What has happened here? With the most actually being back in March 2020, the liquidity crisis. And we all know what happened after that. Okay, very big. Also, obviously, the key point that's always great is hash rate's like always hitting the all-time high, which at the end of the day is like the main premise of Bitcoin. It's like the main reason we can have any security and any faith in Bitcoin, because the network continues to get stronger and stronger and more efficient. And absolutely ginormous for Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin and also the SPX now, this is looking very good. This is our 4th week in a row so far where we are in the green for the SPX, which has been it's very important for Bitcoin also. If this goes up, historically Bitcoin goes up. If this goes down, historically Bitcoin goes down. So good. If we're going to continue to see money printing, then most likely we'll see this and Bitcoin continue to rise here. And this is very good. Now back above the 50 and 21 weekly moving averages. Also, all of the shorter term moving averages, the 50, 21, just very good here. And Bitcoin, again, in a very prime position to make a very bullish move. Ethereum as well. We take a look at Bitcoin's weekly chart. Something we've been talking about for months was this bullish cross and the beginning of this MACD. We've been talking about this back since 2021. This eventually going to shift over. And now it's getting exciting because we're finally entering that period where the last few times that it happened, we were gifted, potentially even blessed, with massive gainers in our piggy banks, okay? And combined with this hidden bullish divergence, I think no matter what happens long term or medium term, because I think long term, very convinced Bitcoin is going to be worth way more than 100,000 long term. Medium term, I think Bitcoin is going to do very well, but regardless of what happens medium term, I think short term, we are going to see at least a multi-month rally, and I think that's what's most important here. Will we break 6 digits on this multi-month rally that if we do get? I think it's very likely. I think it's much more likely than it is not likely, but again, it's all probabilities anyway. There's no guarantee with anything. But overall, I'm very optimistic and bullish based on what not only the charts are showing and the amount of time that's elapsed with this consolidation that can give Bitcoin a spring-loaded bust-a-thon 5,000 to the upside, but also the macro environment it's starting to look a little more bullish as well. Not for fiat though, but for Bitcoin. To get the new channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, absolute 10 cents of alerts. As well, if you guys want any bonuses or deals, make sure to check out all the links below. Earning rewards with our ADA pool, trading, getting altcoins, make sure to check everything out. I have one Twitter and one Instagram, they're both below. And yeah, without any further ado, that's it for me.